is happening, guys? My name is Jamie. Today we are doing the best metal albums of December 2020. Now I already have released my best metal albums of 2020, and that's alright because there have been some solid albums this month. And we are nearing closer to the end of the year, and I believe the last video was going to be my last video of the year, but I had to come on and say that this month has been a pretty solid month for metal. There has been some really good black metal, there's been some really good death doom, along with doom metal. These genres are really dominating in December, and really I think we all know what my number one pick of the month is. So let's get on with the list. Coming at number 10 is Wombbath and the album Tales of Madness. This is a Swedish melodic death metal band, and they incorporate elements of some very interesting death metal. What I really enjoy is his vocals. His vocals are quite intense in tone. The problem with this album, Tales of Madness, is the production. Production is quite thin. It really took me by surprise because I thought the production on this album would be a little bit more meatier and grittier, but unfortunately the production does let this album down. Wombbath Tales of Madness is still a very good album, but on the other hand, the reason why it's one of the best metal albums of December is because of the melody. There's a lot of melodic moments. There's some really interesting guitar moments as well, and I just really enjoy the drumming. This album does stretch around about 36 to 40 minutes, and it's still a very solid album for what it is. And it's a fun album. This album's quite addictive. You want to listen to this album over and over again until you get fucking sick and tired of it. That's why Wombbath Tales of Madness is coming at number 10. Coming at number 9 is Green Druid at the Maw of Ruin. Album is pretty good. If you want some sludgy death doom, you come to the right place. It's not death doom, you could say, but it's very sludgy and it's very doomy, with songs running about 14 minutes at times. I just love how the riffs are quite repetitive, but they really do get stuck in your head. When I first heard this album, I thought it was a lady actually singing, but behold, it's actually a man singing. He does sound like a girl at times, but his vocal performance is actually pretty good. Incorporating elements of blackened shrieks along with clean, beautiful vocals, this vocalist does really have talent. It does really have talent, and you can tell. Overall, the instrumentals are pretty good, they're pretty solid, and it's a pretty fun album. Coming at number 8 is a pretty overhyped album of this month, but I really did enjoy it. It's Undergang, Aldrig, Livet death metal album, and holy shit, this album took me by surprise. There was a lot of hype building with this album, and I thought that it was going to not live up to its expectations. Although some people say this is the best death metal album of the year, I highly disagree. I think Necrot, Carnation, Skeletal Remains are a lot better than this, except they do something very different. This is very slow death metal. It's quite doomy. They incorporate elements of death doom along with funeral doom, along with some really upbeat death metal. This is very different sounding death metal in my opinion. It's got a really sort of punky riff about the first song, but then it really settles in. It's a pretty solid album for what it is. I just love how cavernous those vocals are throughout Undergang. I drink it, leave it. But yeah, pretty solid album, and I would recommend it. Coming at number 7 is a Alcest-like band. We're talking about Raat and the album Raison. Reminds me of bands such as Alcest and even Blood Alcinoid. If you want some really interesting black metal, you come to the right place for this album. It's very Alcest-like, it's very shoegazy, but the vocals really remind me of Blood Alcinoid. Like the vocals sound like they're part of the instrument. Very low within the mix. I just really enjoy how the instrumentals are very high up in the mix, but the vocals are very low. It's very disturbing at times. It's got the element of surprise, and there are some really solid tracks. Like some of these songs go on for around 9 to 10 minutes. It's proggy, it's black metal. Those vocals are really cool, and I just love the overall production. But yeah, I really enjoyed Raat, Raison. Coming at number 6 is Mardom, The Path of No Return. If you want some more black metal up your ass, up your sphincter, you're gonna really enjoy this. It's aggressive black metal, but I love the shrieks on this. I love also the symphonic elements that build throughout this album. It's quite a short album. It's very fun, it's very aggressive, and there are some really softer moments, but his vocals are very intense in tone. Really remind me of vocals, he really sounds like Nad's Alchemeth at times. Just really love how you can tell they've been inspired by Tark. Mardom, The Path of No Return is a fantastic album, and they are Polish. They're Polish, and again, the Polish just do it so damn right. They do it with Afsky as well, and they've done it with Mardom, except Afsky is a much more solid album than Mardom because it's a lot longer. Coming at number 5 is Soilwork, A Whisp of the Atlantic. This album really took me by surprise. This is the album that got me really into Soilwork. Although you may be surprised it's at number 5, it's still a pretty solid album. I feel there are other better albums than this album. Apparently they call it an EP. Well, it's an album. It's got to be an album because it's over 30 minutes long. I love the 16-minute song, A Whisp of the Atlantic. It's proggy. You can tell they've been inspired by Dream Theater, Opeth, so many different bands. It's proggy. Love his vocals. His cleans are fantastic. I know my mate didn't really enjoy this album, but that's okay. Songs are intense. This album's very proggy, and it's very different to what Soilwork usually do. But yeah, Soilwork, Whisp of the Atlantic is a solid fucking album that every motherfucker should check out. Coming at number 4 is a sludgy, doomy band, Cardinal Worm, and their album Devotionals. Again, if you want some clean vocals mixed with some aggressive vocals at times, you're going to really enjoy this. If you like Candlemass, if you like a mix of Paradise Lost as well with Sword of the Sun, you're really going to enjoy Cardinal Worm, in my opinion. There are some, you can tell these guys have been inspired by the bands I have mentioned, especially inspired by Paradise Lost, Sword of the Sun, and even Candlemass, because they really introduce a very different sort of psychedelic doom sound sonically on this album. There are some ripping guitar solos, there are some incredible moments as well, there are some aggressive cavernous vocals on this album, but there's also some beautiful cleans. This album's really awesome. It sounds similar to bands such as God Rhythm as well, the album they released this year. But yeah, Cardinal Worm Devotionals is a pretty solid album, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. And to be honest, Cardinal Worm would be very close to getting my top 20 albums. Coming at number 3 is Saviorskin, Omnipotence of the Absolute. This is such a very interesting album, and when I say interesting, it's something that it's how can I explain it? It's industrial, it's gothic, there's death doom, it's also proggy, there are some beautiful clean vocals, there's some really harsh aggressive cavernous vocals, and I just love the overall layout. Some songs go for 8 to 9 minutes. It's overall a very awesome album to sink your teeth in. If you like that gothic industrialized death doom, you're gonna really enjoy this, because at times they sound like Catatonia, at times they sound like Hooded Menace. Like this band is experimenting at its finest on this, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. One thing I have to point out is I think they ripped off the album cover from Bogner Y. It looks exactly the same. Have a look at these two. They look exactly the same. Bogner Y is another fantastic album that was released this year. And that was a very interesting, experimental, intense black metal album that I thoroughly enjoyed. Maybe Saviorskin didn't realize that they took the album cover from Bogner, because these album covers look very similar, except one's blue and one's red, and that's the same lady crucified. So yes, I don't know what's happened there, but they've come across with the same album covers. Coming at number 2 is Dynine. Oh my god, I wouldn't believe it. It's Folterkammer, Die Lederpredigy. Okay, what can I say about this album? People say that we're disrespectful of Imperial Triumphant, and we're disrespectful to Alphaville and everything like that, but this is Imperial Triumphant's side project, Folterkammer, and holy shit, this album is something very special to me. I absolutely love it. Very similar to bands such as Opera 9, they incorporate operatic vocals within the black metal. It's avant-garde black metal, but it is the best avant-garde black metal of the year in my opinion. It's up there with Aranzi Pazuzu, which was another fantastic avant-garde black metal album that I fucking loved. And Folterkammer, in my opinion, would probably make it into my top 20 albums of the year. That's how much I loved it. And you know what? Yeah, cheers everyone. Merry fucking Christmas. I'm gonna have a beer. Overall, this album is solid. It's solid. Andromeda's vocals are incredible. Zach the guitarist. I love Zach's leads throughout this album, and it's really made me appreciate Folterkammer's really made me appreciate how diverse Imperial Triumphant are. Folterkammer, Die Lederpredigy, is an album that really blew me away. I loved it. I was anticipating for it for months. I knew it was going to be solid as soon as I heard Dynine, and you got Das Magnificant, which is an amazing song as well. Folterkammer, Die Lederpredigy is a magnificent album that everyone should listen to. You know what? I'm going to change my score to a 9 out of 10. I absolutely fucking adore it now. It's an album that I played the most of December. I would, if I had to put in my best metal albums of 2020, if I had to change that, I would probably put it at number 4. Folterkammer, Die Lederpredigy is just an incredible album. Well done. My number 1 album of December is Akhlys, Melinoe. What can I say? This album is a masterpiece by Naz Alchemeth. Dreaming Eye was an incredible album. Akhlys, Melinoe. This album is superb. I absolutely love the furious black metal. I love his vocals. His vocals are so damn intense. The guitar work is so damn incredible as well. The drumming is off the hook. And I just love how this album is just like a wall of fucking sounds, a horrific wall of sound. It just questions you, what the hell am I listening to at times? The only problem is the bit, that 6-minute build up to the next song, Sicabri. You could take or leave that out in my opinion. And again, it made it my best metal albums of 2020. But December has been a pretty solid month. Been some really good albums this month, and you know what guys, if you haven't checked out any of the albums that I've mentioned, go fucking check them out. You know, it's the end of the year, it's Christmas, and exciting time of the year. Well guys, that's it for the best metal albums of December and the end of the best metal albums of 2020 series. We went from January right through to December. I think we did every single month. We've covered over hundreds of new metal releases this year. Also done 80 album reviews as well, single videos on this channel. So it has been a pretty successful content change for me. So guys, that's it for the best metal albums of December. I hope you did enjoy. Comment below your favorite metal albums of December. Do you agree or disagree with my opinion? You guys have a wonderful Christmas, everyone, and I will see you next year.